The culture of accumulation has its own momentum. First one car, then two, then more parking, more shelter, more fuel, more asphalt. Always designed and scaled for the maximum possible capacity. Inside our vehicles, more often than not, we find ourselves simply and often blissfully alone. What are the actual costs of this unprecedented material expansion in money, space, energy, and resources? And what can be gained from a new kind of relationship with cities and the mobility that serves them, one that values access for all above convenience for a relative few?
"10 years from now, people will not need to have a car in most of the United States."
You look what Autoliv has done in Paris in just a couple years with 4,000 cars in this massive point-to-point electric car sharing operation. It doesn't have to take 10 years.
We have this asset that costs us about $9,000 a year to own and operate, but then we only use it about 5% of the time. It's the second highest household expense is transportation and car ownership.
Like, we've built in the pain of taking care of the car, keeping it insured, keeping it clean, and we're not really questioning that. So actually what it requires also is a shift in mindset of cost and benefit.
20-somethings already, aren't bothering to get licenses. And what it is your identity isn't your car, your identity is what's on your smartphone. The shift over is going to be into a world not where you have the option of subscribing to a car, but the situation where actually owning a car does not make economic sense, and driving your own car isn't worth the trouble because subscribing is so much easier and it gives you so many more options.
For generations of car owners, the very idea of transportation has boiled down to one all-important decision: a commitment to a single product for every journey, every purpose, and every occasion. As a result, in the Western world, our driveways, garages, and suburban streets overflow with SUVs and family sedans, each awaiting a weekly shopping run, a monthly family visit, or an annual road trip. Rarely do we scale down to our actual daily needs.
Part of the beauty of the transition away from car ownership toward a mobility as a service model is that you no longer have to only use the least common denominator vehicle. There is going to be an ability that we'll have to both downscale and upscale the size of vehicles to meet the level of demand that's appropriate for a particular route or a particular group of passengers at that time.
We'd much prefer to spend $7 an hour, $8 an hour, and rent a vehicle only when we actually need it, only pay per use of the vehicle. And we felt that it helped us to avoid a lot of the frustration and cost that comes with car ownership.
The opportunity is definitely there to create services that makes you and I see the behaviors that we share and make it easy for us to just say, okay, I'm in on sharing this ride if anybody will join me.
So today you've got cars, vehicles, energy or oil, and insurance being sold. And in the future, there's an opportunity to sell trips, miles, and experiences.
But you get something better than ownership, which is access.
So the same is going to be true, I think, over time with the car industry. We see this with bicycles today, where people pick up a bike, ride it, and drop it off with no concern about the theft of, or ownership or any of the costs of that vehicle.
I mean, Moore's Law is definitely in effect, and we are seeing real changes. And I think one of the things that's going to be hard for all the manufacturers to keep up with is the rate of change, because we used to change at the rate of hardware. Now we're changing at the rate of software. It's a very different cadence.
This is a generation of digital natives that are inspired by really nice user interface and really nice user experience and exciting technology, not necessarily roaring horses under the hood. So we're just switching those experiential factors from big, loud and fast and shiny to really cool technology like a augmented reality heads-up display and things like that.
So not only will cars be used differently in this new transportation paradigm that we're facing, but it's certainly also a moment for us to question what a car is, right? And to think about different kinds of designs of vehicles, sizes, weights, scales, environments inside those vehicles that are really adapted to the needs of people at different times.
In just a few years, ride-hailing services have begun to transform long-held notions of trust and ownership. Still, in terms of vehicle form, experience, and usage patterns, they remain little more than mobile-connected taxis.
The automobile will always be with us, the same as horses are still with us. They just don't maintain the same economic importance that they used to. But it won't be what the average person relies on to get to work every day.
I touch the earth whenever the ground, my football makes no sound. Light the flame, light the fire, keys in my hand, ready to burn it down. I ride the fire, ride the flame, move so fast I have no name. Can't slow me down, wind in my hair, ready to run, 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 run. I touch the earth, but never the ground, my football makes no sound. Light the flame, light the fire, keys in my hand, ready to burn, burn.